is the 6 steps that were here at your beginning. Maybe if you could give me a quick wrap on that.
The presentation covered 6 different ways of addressing, or 6 steps in addressing what I call the cyber shell game.
Yeah.
Which Jeff Moss alluded to today, in his talk, are basically bounded by how do you define the domain of cyberspace?
Yep.
How do you define, for instance, cyber conflict? How do you define, for instance, what a cyber attack is? And then we look a little bit, according to Plato's cave, the shadows on the wall, how other governments abroad, and also U.S. government, conceive of cyber conflict, so that we can see of what's been done for the last 20 years. And what does that tell us about a different type of cyber conflict than we're usually used to addressing, which is information warfare. And then we move to the concept of what is information warfare.
Yep.
And the concepts of information warfare that we discussed are largely bounded by Marxist-Leninist philosophy that is 50, 70 years old, and would also see cyberspace as being the most important domain. And the cyberspace domain is actually very often the high ground that some countries, some governments want to secure beyond anything else, including, for instance, territorial security. And the reason for that is because they are most concerned, of course, not with the big boom or the big cyber explosion or the critical infrastructure meltdown. They're more concerned with losing control of their own cyberspace, with that dreaded word, regime change, with potential devastating personal consequences when they're put against the wall and shot. So their main concern is not necessarily cyber war, it's information warfare and regime change. And therefore they don't really care that much about the debates that we have, and I've spent a lot of time involved in the UN First Committee and similar, talking about international law, international humanitarian law. They really care about internet governance, because they want to change how cyberspace is run. Cyberspace is run today by the multi-stakeholder model, which basically means the civil society, the private sector, and government in that order. And that is something they want to reverse. They want the government to be the most important actor in this, because they think it's impossible for civil society actors to be independent. They're always proxies of the government, and they think the civil society are all proxies for the US government. So they want to replace this model that we currently have, the multi-stakeholder model, with the intergovernmental model. And the reason for that is the only way that they think they can guarantee the security of their own cyberspace from hostile information attacks. And if that happens, however, we will lose control over our cyberspace. We will lose control over what it means to actually hold information in cyberspace. And if that also happens, we will have no room for freedom of speech or even democracy anymore. This is that serious existential threat.
Yep.
It's not that likely to happen because we've been fighting this for 20 years, but we keep on losing little bits and pieces here and there. And there's always a consistent, you always keep on winning one battle and then you lose another battle. And it's not said for sure that we will win this battle. We only will win this battle if the people who actually build cyberspace, which are the people who are at this conference, are actually aware of the larger strategic game that Jeff referred to last year, and not only concentrate on the tactics that we're also interested in.
Yep. Well, thank you for your time and helping educate small and medium business technology enthusiasts. Thank you.